Hello friends, see we will be starting a special series of lecture today with two motives in mind. First thing is for the people who want to appear for this year's preliminary examination, and as I have discussed in the earlier part that the preliminary examination has a topic known as world geography, and there are some very small topics such as location, Greenwich Mean Time, international date line and all these topics which are smaller, which obviously are very basic concepts, but you should know them because they may be asked in the examination. And also as a student of as a student of geography, as a student who is preparing for civil service examination, you should know these topics very well. So these are the series of lecture which is specially meant for the people who are writing this year's preliminary examination or anywhere preliminary or any kind of objective examination in the future. The second is, these are the series of the lecture in which very basic concepts such as the latitudes, longitudes, then the entire basics, what is Gulf, what is Bay, what are the different types of mountains, what are the different kinds of wind system, and then the different continents of the world will be taken up. Why I am saying especially for preliminary examination? Because 3 to 4 questions every year from this topic. How is the nature of the questions? Very simple. 3 to 4 questions means around 8 to 10 marks, 6 to 10 marks. So obviously very basic, very basic marks which you should grab them, because this 10 marks should not make a difference. These are the marks which not a single serious student commits what you call as a silly mistake or what you call as a don't know kind of answer, because the questions are very straightforward, the questions are very simple. The only thing is not a good book is available. Students are confused what exactly to read in for this topics. Topic is very interesting, topics are very simple. In fact here, but I want two requirements from you. First, as I told you, this is not only, this is especially for preliminary person who is appearing in the preliminary examination, but even the person who is studying geography for the first time and wants to know the entire geography before going to the bigger concepts of geomorphology, climatology, before going to the bigger concepts of oceanography and Indian geography. You can watch this series of lecture in which first lecture will be based on, as you know, location of a place, that means latitude, longitude. With the location of the place, obviously time and date also comes, so it is in this lecture. The second series of the lecture will be all the basic concepts of rotation, revolution of the earth. The third series of the lecture will be the basic concepts of oceanography, climatology and geomorphology, and then very interesting part, that is the world geography. Why I am saying very interesting part? Because as a general, as a layman, as a person, if you follow these lectures very properly, you will have the entire world geography on your fingertip. That means you should not have to worry where is the Panama Canal located, where is Nicaragua Canal, why it is Suez Canal, what is the importance, relate them. You will have to understand them, you will easily relate them. And why I am saying interesting? Because as a student of a civil service examination, one of the basic fact for clearing this examination is regular knowledge of current affairs, which comes through obviously reading the lectures, reading the newspapers very regularly. Now when you read these newspapers, obviously geopolitical issues, this forms a major chunk of the newspapers, that is Afghan war, ISIS, or the strategic importance of such and such countries, why some countries are so important. Why this idea comes from geography. Once you know this geography, you don't have to worry where is the Caspian Sea located, you don't have to worry about the Scandinavian regions located. So the first series, that is the basic concepts, and then the second series is, that is your entire geography will be on the fingertips, because we are going to study each and every continent in detail. And then third, you can relate, to know this very properly, you relate it with your current affairs. Now if you are appearing this year in the examination, yes, you know what are the important topics through the current affairs. If you are appearing next year, next to next year, or if you are appearing for any other kind of an examination, then also you don't have to worry, because the geography won't change. Himalayas will stay there, Andes mountain will stay there. What is going to change is some of the policy matters. So obviously if this year the focus is on the European countries or Central Asia, focus on this part for your examination, focus on this part of geography. If next year the focus goes on some other part for maybe China or Southeast Asia, you can expect a question from this part. Now regarding what are the series of the question, they will either ask you physical geography of that, human geography, or they can ask you the cities and the economic geography. Just like last year the question was, arrange the cities of some cities of Southeast Asia were asked in the north to south direction. So we will do this all very properly and with very simple, very good ways of remembering what you have to remember, how you have to remember, which area you should focus. Because see, even if the questions, past year question papers, you will see the questions are not arbit. They won't pick up any city in the world, UPSC or any of the examination body does not pick up any random city and they will ask you. It does not happen that way. What happens is the area of focus is generally asked, and as a civil service aspirant, as a future civil servant, one of the basic requirement is you should have a sharp mind, you should have a kind of mind which you should have the knowledge of your surroundings. So when you are reading the newspaper, you should have a basic knowledge of what is going on in the world. So it should not be where is Persia located, where is Jakarta located, is it north or south of the equator, where is Singapore located, or from which part of India does the Tropic of Cancer passes. This should not be there, because you are aspiring to become a future civil servant, and obviously the need for this examination, the requirement of this examination will be according to that. So here we will be starting with the series of lecture again, but before that I want two commitments from you. One is buy any good atlas. There are two good atlases in the market, or you can choose atlas on yourself. One is Orient Longman, the other is Oxford Atlas. The Orient Longman Atlas or Oxford Atlas, you can buy both, or you can go and choose which one you have to buy looking at the market. The second thing is, once you buy the atlas, take this atlas, take a blank notebook and take the atlas along with you. And when we start the lecture series, mark in the atlas whatever the physical features I am saying. For example, if I say in South America, that is, when I say South America, obviously we know that the South America has some kind of this has Andes mountain. So you should mark in the atlas where is Andes, what it is. It is a young fold mountain. So mark in the atlas, it is an example of a young fold mountain. If it is a young fold mountain, then what are the other kind of mountains? Either the mountains will be old fold mountains, or the other mountains will be other kind of mountains. How to know it? Refer your geomorphology. If you are having time, obviously go back. If your target is next year, if your target is again a good knowledge of geography, refer to your geomorphology classes. That is, what are young fold mountains, what are old mountains, what are the fault mountains, what are the relic mountains, that is the different types of mountains, what are the volcanic mountains, etc. Or then when I say rivers of South America, mark the rivers of South America, which are the major rivers, mark them and make a note in your notebook that the river Orinoco, if this is a river Orinoco, if this is a river Amazon, if this is Paraguay Parana river system, where does it exactly drain into? Whether it is draining into Pacific Ocean or whether it is draining into Atlantic Ocean. I am just taking an example. Do this for all the continents. Where some of the cities, what is this city located? What is the importance of this city? Where is the capital of Brazil? What is the importance of capital of Chile? What are the basic features here? We will be doing all this. For example, if the Brasilia is located inland, Santos and Sao Paulo region, Rio de la Plata region, this are the very basics. Mark them. For example, if this city is known as the coffee port of the world, mark it coffee port of the world. Note it down in your book, coffee port of the world. Whatever I tell you, note it down very properly, so that this book becomes your notes, your handbook, and you don't have to search in the market, search in the web, or search anywhere before the examinations or even during your study time. Different kinds of books, geography through XYZ, Indian geography through XYZ, or through maps or through atlas. There are numerous books, but you will get, the more library you will build, more you will get confused. This examination requires revision of the basic things, and hence, as I am telling you, make your own notes. Second thing, obviously you will be getting handouts, you will be getting some diagrams, but I will again ask you that mark in your atlas, make your atlas dirty in the sense, mark it and make a note. Whatever I say, rewind the lecture, revise the lecture, but try to make the notes of the lecture as if you are attending, because the idea behind the Superprops is to save your time, to make sure that you get a classroom experience sitting at the home. So when in the classroom, obviously you are going to make notes. You are not just going there sitting and listening. So that is the same idea. Behave as if, have that level of commitment, show that level of passion as well as that level of honesty in making the notes as you will make in the classes. So here at the end, when we'll finish these topics, you will see that you will have some 50 to 100 pages or whatever you write, depending on that, which will cover this entire geography. Second thing is, because while listening the lecture, you are marking it in the atlas. While listening the lecture, you are making the notes. While listening the lecture, you are looking at the place in the atlas rather than just depending on the printed notes which are provided. What you are doing, if I provide you very good printed notes, maybe colorful printed notes, you will just browse through the notes. But on other hand, if you are putting in, you are making the notes, you are marking them in the atlas, you are looking for the location in the atlas, when you are looking for certain location, you will look also at what are the other places which are nearer to this. In this way, first you are looking for a location, second you are marking that location, third you are writing that location, you are writing something about it. So see, you are engaging your mind at three different levels: level process 1, process 2, process 3. And as you know, in the memory terms, higher the level of processing, deeper the level of processing, there is a higher retention in your memory. The more deeper you process anything, that goes in your long-term memory. If you just process it for one time, it remains in your short-term memory. So our idea here is to have it in the long-term memory so that it comes, so there is no RAM failure. So that it comes whenever you want and it comes out during the stressful time of the examination. So engage in higher levels of processing, engage in deeper levels of processing. That is what I say: writing, marking, visualizing, and last, revising. Revision is very, very important. So though we will be providing the printed notes, though the printed notes are there, but I am still an advocate of making that old habit of writing the notes, because I believe that deeper levels of processing, and in the end you have to write in the examination. You have, in the mains examination, is all about your writing skill. So obviously you are also engaging in a practice of a writing. So as the more deeper you process, the more it goes in your long-term memory. The thing, if it remains in your long-term memory, the greater I can say that the best chance of your memory not failing you, or your memory helping you at the crucial time of the examination. Okay. So with this, again, all the very best, and we will start this very interesting topic first with the very, very basic topics of a location of a place. Now, what do you mean by location of a place, or where are you located? How do we check the location of a place these days? We have too many things such as GPS system. We are on the GPS system. We get the location of a place. We get the location of any place we want to go. We get the location of where we are standing. Today the technology has advanced so much. But how does this with the advancement of a technology, has certain things changed, or still it relies on the basic technology? See, with the advancement of a technology, even if you check the location, it will come to X degree north, Y degree east. These are the two things you will get. You will get that you are located at some degree north and some degree east. Because I am saying north and east because we considering that all of you are watching this lecture in India, and second thing is we all are located in the northern hemisphere. So where is India located? On the equator, on in the sphere. India is located on the northern part of the world. This is the location of India. So obviously we are getting it north. Why east? Because India is located on the eastern part. Eastern part of what? Eastern part of one standard meridian, that is this red color line. We are located on the eastern part, while some USA is located on the western part. If somebody is checking the location here in the southern hemisphere, they will get A degree south and B degree east if they are locating at this place. If somebody is looking at the location in USA, for example, they will get C degree north, D degree west. That means they are on the western side. So the location of any place comes with the two lines. One is this line and the other is this line. Why we say degree east? Because that means we are located on some degree latitude in the northern hemisphere, while on the eastern side of a longitude. So the location of any place comes with what gives the location? Latitudes and longitudes give us the location. Latitudes and longitudes give us the location of any place. What are these latitudes and longitudes? What is a latitude? It is a east-west running. What is latitude? It is an east-west running line which is parallel to the equator is an latitude. These are the latitudes. Parallel to the equator, east-west running lines parallel to the equator. While what are the longitudes? The north-south running lines. The north-south running lines are known as longitudes. North-south running lines are known as longitudes. Are they parallel to anything? No. You see, they converge at poles. So north-south running lines from where? From one pole to another. Are known as longitudes. While this intersection of latitude and longitude of latitudes and longitudes gives us location of a place. Gives us location of a place. That means to find a location of any place, we have to depend on two variables. That is, one is the latitude, other is the longitude. What is latitude? What is longitude? How many types of latitudes are there? How many types of longitudes are there? What is the specific importance of a latitude? What is the specific importance of a longitude? What is the importance from the Indian point of view? That means what is the importance of knowing these things based for the preliminary examination, based for the UPSC examination, mains, or based for any kind of a state service or any kind of such kind of an objective examination. Now let's study that in detail and then we'll discuss the questions. So that is based on this. So this is, first we'll study with the latitudes. Let us first start with the latitudes. See, now the earth is a sphere which is having slightly flat surface on the top. Now to this sphere we divide it into two parts, what we call as 0 degree or equator. 0 degree or equator. It is divided into northern hemisphere and it is divided into southern hemisphere. That is north and south. The equator divides the earth into northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. While the lines which are drawn parallel to the equator at a distance of around 1 degree, 1 degree, 2 degree, such as so on, are known as latitudes. So if we keep on drawing these lines, it will go to the polar regions. So the lines which are drawn parallel to the central line or parallel to the equator at a distance of around 1 degree are known as latitudes. So what are the latitudes? These are the lines which are drawn parallel to the equator. Now because they are parallel to the equator, they are at an equal distance away from each other, from the equator. That means they are at a distance of intervals of around 1 degree away from the equator. So we'll have 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree till we have a 90 degree line here. That is what we call 90 degree north, until we have a 90 degree line here, that is the 90 degree south. Now see, because they are located because they are located parallel to each other, can we use them to calculate a distance of a place? If we know the distance, for example, if you want to calculate a distance of this place x, that is how far away it is from the equator, yes, we can calculate it. That is how far it is away from the equator. That means it gives the distance of a place away from the equator. It gives the location of the place, whether it is to the north of the equator or whether it is to the south of the equator. Suppose there is another place y. Can we know the distance of a place y away from the equator? Yes, if we know x, we can know the distance of a place y away from the equator. And because we can know this two distance, we can also know the distance between x and y. So what is the importance of a latitude? Latitudes are the lines which are drawn parallel to the equator. Because they are drawn parallel to the equator, they are known as parallels of latitude. The importance is they give angular distance. Why angular distance? Because it is a sphere. You remember that earth is not a flat. Here it is my limitation to show you, because obviously the technology is not that. I can show you in the 3-dimensional, but remember that earth is a globe, is a sphere. So it is not a flat surface. So the distance will be angular distance. That is how far away it is from the equator. Based on some mathematical formula, that is, it is an angular distance. So what is a latitude? Latitude gives then the lines which are drawn parallel to the equator are known as latitudes. Lines drawn parallel to the equator are called parallels of latitude. Are called as parallels of latitude. Now, why the word parallels of a latitude? Because they are drawn parallel to the equator. As I said, you remember this term, parallels of a latitude, because when we'll come to longitude, as they converge, they are not known as parallels. So the parallels means latitude. They are drawn parallel to the equator. Because they are drawn parallel to the equator, they are drawn at an interval of 1 degree. They give the angular distance, give or determine the angular distance of a place. They determine the angular distance of a place or a point on the surface of the earth. How do they determine the angular distance? Because roughly 1 degree is equal to 111 kilometers. Because 1 degree is equal to 111 kilometers. Because by mathematical calculation, we know that the 1 degree comes somewhat equal to 111 kilometers. So, if the place is located at 23 degree latitude, north latitude, then at how much far it is away from the equator? From the equator, it is 23 into 111 kilometers away from the equator. It is 23 into 111 kilometers away from the equator. Thus we know that how far it is away from the equator. Now coming to what are the importance of a latitude? Importance of a latitude. They are used for calculating a distance. They are used for calculating a distance of a place away from the equator, calculating a distance of any place, and also location. That is whether it is north or south of equator. Whether it is north or south of the equator. Now, what are the important types of latitudes, and why we are studying this latitude? What are there? Obviously, there are some of the important latitudes which will help us determine that that is why we say India is a tropical country or subtropical country. Why we say Europe is mostly a temperate, or what is the tundra region? Because it is determined on the latitudes and the movement of the sun. The important latitudes are, as I told you, look here, the important latitudes are equator, that is 0 degree, 23.5 degree north, 23.5 degree north, 23.5 degree in the south, 66.5 degree north, 66.5 degrees south, and obviously 90 degree north, that is North Pole, and 90 degree south. 90 degree south. So the important latitudes are one, 0 degree equator, which divides the earth into two hemispheres, that is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Second is 23.5 degree north, that is the Tropic of Cancer. Second is 23.5 degrees south, Tropic of Capricorn. .5 degree north, this Arctic Circle. .5 degree south, that is the Antarctic Circle. .90 degree north, that is the North Pole. And lastly 90 degree south, that is the South Pole. South. So these are some of the important latitudes. These are 23.5 degree north, 23.5 degrees south, 66.5 degree north, 66.5 degree south, and obviously you know the polar regions also. Now coming to why they are important. Now look here, equator, because it divides the earth into two hemispheres. Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn. What is Cancer and Capricorn? Cancer matlab Kark Rasi. Capricorn, when the sun enters the constellation of a Cancer, that is astronomy, or you'll say astrology and geography mixed. When the earth enters the constellation of a Cancer, it is known as a tropic of, it enters at 23.5 degree. It is known as Tropic of Cancer. When the sun enters, why I am saying sun enters? Because we are not conscious of our movement. It is actually, we are moving around the sun, but we are conscious as a sun rises and sun sets. So let us keep that way. Okay, that is apparent movement of the sun. So when the sun comes in the northern hemisphere at 23.5 degree north, it enters the constellation of Cancer. Hence it is known as Tropic of Cancer. What is the practical application? We have the hottest summer season in India during that time. 21st of June, the longest day in the northern hemisphere. When the sun goes to the southern hemisphere, it enters the constellation of Tropic of Capricorn. It enters the constellation of a Capricorn at 23.5 degree. That is why we call it as a Tropic of Capricorn. What is our implication? We are having winters during that time. So that means sun enters between this Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. That is, the movement of the sun is overhead from 23.5 degrees to 23.5 degrees south. Therefore we call this zone as a tropic zone. After the tropic zone we have a temperate zone, and after the temperate zone we have frigid zone. So what is this? How is the practical application? In India, what divides India? Equator or Arctic Circle or Tropic of Cancer? What passes through India? It is obviously the Tropic of Cancer. That is why we are saying our India is a tropical country. Because the Tropic of Cancer cuts India into two parts, some part of India lies in the tropical region, some part of India lies in the temperate region. We call India as a subtropical country because we have the climate, most of the peninsular India is mostly in the tropics. Above the Tropic of Cancer, that is above the states of, what we will do here afterwards is above the states through which the Tropic of Cancer cuts India into two halves, the country lies in the temperate zone. But we experience, due to the presence of Himalayas, we experience a kind of a climate which is known as a monsoon climate. Hence we call India as a subtropical country, because we have the characteristics of both tropical and temperate region, but mostly going towards the tropics. So India is a subtropical country. So these are the important latitudes. Now what is the important latitudes? The area between 23.5 degree north and 23.5 degree south is known as tropical zone. Is known as tropics. Now why it is known as an tropics? Because it looks as if the sun's rays fall vertically in this zone at least once in a year. After this, the sun's rays do not fall vertically, they fall in a slanting way, and the slanting of the sun's rays goes on increasing as we move away from here, because the sun is overhead only in the tropical zone. That is, the sun moves from here till here and here. This is the apparent movement of the sun. That is, it goes either down or it goes either up in this region. That is, the sun's rays will fall. If the sun is located here on the tropical region, the sun's rays will fall vertically in this zone. If the sun is located here, the sun's rays will fall vertically in this zone. If the sun is located here, the sun's rays will fall vertically in this zone. After this, the sun's rays never fall vertically. Now, if you remember your old time game or favorite pastime, or at least if you know we used to have a magnifier. Now, what does the magnifier during our childhood days, it was the favorite pastime to take a magnifier, concentrate the sun's rays and use it to burn a paper. And it was also an experiment. Why? Because the magnifier used to make sure that if this is a place located here, the magnifier used to make sure that the sun's rays fall vertically on this place. When the sun's rays are falling vertically on this place, on the piece of a paper, obviously the heat is more. Vertical sun rays, angle is 90 degrees, angle is more, so angle is less, so that means more energy is coming, and because it is covering a smaller surface area, that means it is giving more heat. So vertical rays results into more heating. On the other hand, if the rays are horizontal, or we can say if the rays are slanting, on the other hand, if the rays come in this way, in a slanting way, obviously they are covering more surface area, they are falling over a more surface, therefore the concentration is less, because there is a diversion, not totally focused. These are focused, these are not focused. Okay, so that means there is a slanting and less heat is given. So you remember the slanting sun rays. Cover large surface area. And therefore less heat is given. So the vertical sun rays, the more vertical here, the more heat will be given, and the slanting the rays are, there will be less heat. Now come to the geography part. In the tropics, the sun is overhead. That means the sun is exactly at the top of the head. What we see generally in India at 12 o'clock or in the mid-afternoon, sun is directly overhead us. That is, हमारे ऊपर ही there is a sun, and therefore the rays are vertical. In the tropics are those regions in which the sun is overhead at least once in a year. Why sun is overhead at least once in a year? Because यहाँ पे either sun is there, or the sun is here, or the sun is here, or the sun is here. That means what I say is earth moves, rotates and revolves in such a way that only this part, the tropical part of the world, comes in the direct vertical contact of the sun's rays, and therefore iske baad the sun's rays start getting horizontal. Only till this time the sun's rays are vertical. That is, the 90-degree angle is made here only up till this time. After this, the sun's rays start becoming, that is, less angle, 66.5 degree. Here again less angle. Here again very, very less angle. Same thing lies here. After that, the sun's rays are slanting. So obviously in the tropics, the sun's rays fall vertically, and because they fall vertically, these areas receive more heat. They are energy surplus. What do you mean by energy surplus? That means they have very, very high heat. This between the Tropic of Cancer in 23.5 degree north and Tropic of Capricorn in the 23.5 degree south. So what are these tropics? Tropics are the areas What are the tropics? The sun is overhead. At least once in a year. And therefore sun's rays fall vertically. And because the sun's rays fall vertically, therefore there is very high heat. High heat in this region, and therefore this region is known as torrid zone. Therefore this region is known as an torrid zone. Therefore this region is known as torrid zone. So what do you mean by torrid zone? An area lying between the Tropic of Cancer that is the area which is lying between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. (23.5 degree north, 23.5 degree south). That is the Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Capricorn. That is the area which is lying between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn is known as this. Now the next is the temperate zone. That is the area which lies between 23.5 degree north and 66.5 degree north. 23.5 degrees south and 66.5 degrees south. That is the area which lies between Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle. So this area is known as a temperate zone. Why it is known as a temperate zone? Why it is known as temperate zone? Because here the sun's rays do not exactly fall vertically. The sun's rays are slanting. And see, what is the difference between the climate of Delhi and the climate of Mumbai or Chennai or the climate of Kerala? Delhi, you will have proper 4 seasons. That is, the summer season is there is autumn, there is a winter season, and there is a spring season. Proper 4 seasons are there. If you go to Mumbai, it is all hot, humid throughout the year. Only thing is little bit humidity decreases, little bit that heat decreases during the December months or when there is a rainfall. Same thing lies with the Kerala. Same thing is there with Chennai. Why? Because Delhi is located in the temperate zone. But because of the presence of Himalayas, we have a different kind of a microclimate. We call this as a monsoon climate. India is a special country, always you remember. We have our own ocean. No other country in the world has the own ocean. That is not own ocean, ocean which is named after a country. We have a special kind of a jet stream. We have a special kind of a climate. And here, the tropical region, Bombay, that is Chennai, Mumbai, Kerala, this all lies in the tropical region. That is the same climate throughout there. So what is a temperate zone? It is a region. The angle of the sun's rays. The angle of the sun's rays. Of sun's rays goes on decreasing. Or we can say sun's rays are slanting. Slanting beyond tropics. Beyond tropics. So what we know that now, because the sun's rays are slanting, therefore there is a moderate temperature. Therefore, moderate temperature. Therefore, moderate temperature. And therefore, this region is known as a temperate region. Therefore, this region is known as a temperate region. That is, which is this temperate region? Between the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Cancer, you remember. Not this entire zone. This zone is a temperate zone. That is between the Arctic Circle and Tropic of Cancer, between the Antarctic Circle and the Tropic of Capricorn. This is known as a temperate zone. Now the last zone, that is at the poles, what will happen? The sun's rays are becoming so slanting, that is, it looks as if the sun is there only at the horizon. That means the sun is never on the top. Sun, because it is never on the overhead. If this is the earth's surface, for the sun to give it rays, the sun has to be on the overhead. That is, then only vertical rays. Sun jitna horizon ke paas hai, sun, the more sun is near the horizon, the more rays will be slanting. That is, only overhead sun, vertical sun, top sun will give vertical rays, overhead sun. If the sun is at the horizon, then angle will be slanting. That is why during the dawn, dusk, at the evening and in the morning we have less temperature. Why less temperature? Because sun is not vertically overhead. So as I said you, this topic is all about basics, but they will be asked in the examination. They can be asked in the examination. Why during the morning and evening we have different colors in the sky? Because the sun's rays, because they are coming in a slanting way, too much dust particles in the atmosphere, they reflect the sun's rays, they scatter away the sun's rays, resulting into beautiful colors in the sky due to the scattering effect. What light is scattered? What, either blue light is scattered or orange light is scattered. Why there is less heat during the evening and morning time? Because the sun is over the horizon. Because sun horizon pe hai, isliye the rays are not vertical, the rays are horizontal or slanting, therefore less heat. Why there is more heat during the afternoon? Because the sun is directly overhead. Which areas experience directly overhead sun? At least once in a year, the area between the tropics, or at least two times in a year, the area between the tropics. Temperate, no overhead sun. Now coming to the last zone, that is this zone, that is the area between 90 degree north, that is North Pole, and area between the 90 degrees south, that is the South Pole. Now this area is known as a frigid zone. This area is known as frigid zone. Why it is known as a frigid zone? Because in this region the sun is, because beyond 66.5 degrees, the sun's rays sun does not rise, but it stays only at the horizon. So beyond 66.5 degrees. Half degree, what? North and south, the sun's rays, sun is always at horizon. Therefore, the sun's rays are slanting. Therefore, the sun's rays are slanting, and therefore we can say there is less heat. Therefore, this region is cold. Tundra region, temperate Eskimos, if you remember the school days, Eskimos, they live in a igloo, they wear fur coats. Why? Because of too much ice in this region, in the tundra region. Therefore, this region is cold and known as frigid zone. And known as frigid zone. It is known as a frigid zone. So the frigid zone is a zone between 66.5 degree to 90 degrees in both the hemispheres. Why it is known as a frigid zone? Because of extremely cold. Why it is cold? Because remember the physics. That is, the more the slanting, less heat, less surface area. So it is more cold. Now here the questions: through which continents or through which major countries the Tropic of Cancer passes, Tropic of Capricorn passes, or the Arctic Circle passes, or the Arctic Ocean is located near which countries, or the Arctic Ocean is a dispute between which countries. Now if you know, if you have seen in the atlas, if you look in the atlas, Arctic Circle very properly, it will be seen in the world map in the atlas. You can see, or it will be seen near the North Pole and South Pole in the atlas. You will see which area surrounds the Arctic Circle. That is Arctic Ocean. Now in this, USA is there, Canada is there, Russia is there, Scandinavian countries are there. Obviously China is not there, Japan is not there. Last year's question. So this is how the geography will help you directly or indirectly in answering the questions. So Arctic Ocean dispute will be only in those countries which have Arctic Ocean surrounding it. Why will the Russia or the Norwegian country Norway so interested in Indian Ocean? It will be dispute between, if it happens, it will be between India and China. because they claim the boundary continental shelf in this region. So these are how the questions sit. So look in the atlas at these three regions. Now coming to the Tropic of Cancer, I will take it now. More importantly, the Tropic of Cancer. Why it is so important? Because the Tropic of Cancer divides the India into two parts. It passes through India. Through which states of India? It passes through India to the states of, look in the atlas here. What are the major states through which it passes? It passes through Gujarat. If we start from east to west, it passes through Gujarat. Then what is the state after Gujarat? See, it passes through Rajasthan. It passes through Madhya Pradesh. It passes through the state which was formed out of Madhya Pradesh, that is the Chhattisgarh. After Chhattisgarh, which is the state which forms the boundary on the eastern side, then it passes through Jharkhand. Just besides Jharkhand is West Bengal. Then go to the northeastern part of India. It passes through the state of Tripura. And it passes through the state of Mizoram. That is, it divides India into two parts. The Tropic of Cancer divides India into two parts. And what are the major cities located in India on the Tropic of Cancer? Gandhinagar, or located near the Tropic of Cancer, it is the Gandhinagar. It is Bhopal. And Ranchi. These three major cities are located very, very close to the Tropic of Cancer. In fact, the road which says Kark Rekha, that is the Tropic of Cancer, lies in the Madhya Pradesh. So we will see that these are the states. Now how to remember? Obviously, the Tropic of Cancer divides India into two parts. You remember that. Northern and the southern, tropical and subtropical region. Now, obviously it has passed through Gujarat. So if you look at Gujarat ke baad, there is a small projection of Rajasthan. MP is a very, very big state. Chhattisgarh, created out of MP. South part of Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal lies in between. What you have to remember is Tripura and Mizoram. Small part, these two small states of Northeast India, Tripura this way and Mizoram. So this is how you remember. Very, very easy to remember. And what are the major cities? Capital of Gujarat, Gandhinagar, Bhopal and Ranchi. These are the three important cities located on the Tropic of Cancer. So the question can be, if you are going from east to west, what the states will be in which of the following order, or the cities will be in which of the following order. So this is about the Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Capricorn, whatever is important, we will do it while doing the world geography, while doing the individual continents. For example, Brazil, we will be studying this. Okay. So now our next topic is the longitudes.